Hi guys, so today in Pyramid Strength I'm going to show you a few of my favourite shoulder warm-up exercises. So these are exercises that I use before any sort of heavy pressing routines, so any bench press, overhead press, Olympic lifting, gymnastics such as pull-ups, press-ups. And you've noticed there I say pull-ups, or even during pulling exercises, I think it's really important to warm up and loosen up your shoulder before you get going. And these are by no means a definitive guide. They are some of my favourite exercises in the routine that I personally use, but of course there are others out there. And as I mentioned before in other videos, the shoulder joint is one of the most mobile, but also by nature the most unstable joint in the body. So it really is important that you take the time to warm it up properly before doing any heavy lifting, because it is very prone to injury if you don't. So the first exercise here is the band pull apart, and this is really a simple exercise that you can do with any band. You just grip it with an underhand grip and simply pull the band apart. Think about pinching your shoulder blades together, which maybe you can see a bit more clearly here on this side on view. And really this is an exercise you should be doing for really high repetitions to get your shoulder warmed up. You can grab both ends of the band, both loops, to make it a bit harder, or you can simply grab the band a bit narrower if it's too easy. I prefer to use an underhand grip, but you can do it overhand as shown here. I just think that underhand helps a bit more with external rotation, which is what I'm trying to achieve by this exercise. Moving on to the next exercise, we have the band external rotation. So you can set this up with a band around any really sturdy object. I've done it around the pull-up bar here. You can do it against any sort of object at home or in the gym that you can simply loop the band around. Try and do it at the same level as your hand so that it's parallel. And think about tucking your elbows in as you pull the band apart and rotate. If it's a bit too easy, you can simply step further away so there's more tension on the band, and this will make it a bit harder. Conversely, you can also move closer to make it easier, or of course you can use a completely different strength band. You can do this exercise with a cable machine in the gym. What I would strongly recommend not doing is what a lot of people do, is simply grabbing a dumbbell and doing the same external rotation. And if you think about it, the dumbbell weight is pushing downwards, so you're actually getting the force down on your shoulder joint, whereas in a band or a cable you have constant tension as you pull away in the right direction that you want for the exercise. So it's actually working your rotator cuff, your external rotation muscles of the shoulder, whereas doing it with a dumbbell, the angle of the force is actually in the wrong direction, is quite dangerous because you're simply putting a downward load on your shoulder joint as you're rotating. So you're probably doing more harm than good with a dumbbell. So stick to using either a band or a cable machine for this exercise. The final exercise is what's called a shoulder dislocate. So for this you simply need a wooden stick and grab it quite wide as I'm doing here and bring it up over your head, round your back, whilst keeping your arms straight at all times. And then as you warm up and you get a bit looser, you can move your hands a little bit inward, a bit narrower, and keep doing the same exercise. And as opposed to the two exercises I've shown you already, which involve external rotation, really warming up the rotator cuff, this warms up the whole shoulder joint, just makes you a little bit looser, a little bit more mobile, and it's something I do regularly before any overhead pressing or Olympic lifting where the mobility demands are a little bit higher. So it's a great exercise just to loosen up and warm up your shoulders. What you don't want to do with this is what I've done here, which is grip the bar a bit too narrow and have to bend my elbows quite significantly to get it over my head and back. And it can be a bit frustrating to have to go so wide at the start, but that's what you need to do the exercise properly. Gripping it narrow and bending your elbows and your arms as you go over your shoulders is not going to do anything for your mobility or warm-up. In fact, it put you at a more compromised position at higher risk of injury if you do the exercise like this. So stay wide and do the exercise properly. If you don't have a wooden stick, or you find it a bit too tough at the start on your shoulders, you can do the same exercise with a band setup as we showed previously. It's a bit easier on your shoulders, it's a bit less taxing, and also most people don't have a wooden stick lying around, and most gyms do. So this is certainly a great alternative method to do the shoulder dislocate exercise. And again, will be great for warming up and loosening up your shoulders. So just as a recap of the 3 exercises, first we've got the band pull-aparts, then we have the banded external rotation, not with a dumbbell, to with a band or cables, and these are both of your rotator cuff exercises which are great for warming up the stabilizer muscles and also strengthening your rotator cuff. And finally we have the shoulder dislocates, which are great for loosening up your shoulders and general mobility. So that's it guys, hope you found it useful.